Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Monday. Welcome back for another video today. It is Monday, the first official day of school for my kids, which means that I have some free time to catch up on doing some filming. I've been writing out some videos this morning in my handy dandy notebook with this pen I stole from my daughter. And we're gonna do some filming now that I still have some peace and quiet for at least a couple more hours. I also have a protein coffee here with me today. I'm gonna be showing this to you guys. I'm gonna film a what I eat in a day video, probably for Friday's video, and I will share with you guys this recipe. I'm just gonna share it with you. I'm not like selling you anything, or y'all know I don't like to do that. Delicious though. Okay, so I have coffee, I have some notes. We're gonna film a couple of videos today. So the first one we're going to be talking about on this beautiful Monday, I thought was prudent since we got the news last week from ZEPBOUND or Eli Lilly saying that they were releasing the vials of ZEPBOUND in the 2.5 and the 5 milligram dosage. And so with that news, a lot of new talk of Mounjaro and ZEPBOUND pricing and whether or not the vials will be cheaper and why is it so expensive in the first place. There's just all of this talk within the ZEPBOUND Mounjaro community about cost right now, especially a lot of people that are on compounding that are scared that compounding is going to get turned off or shut down or whatever. So I thought it was prudent today to start with this video. So I made some notes this morning and I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. So if you are new here though, first, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button. My name is Brittany and I have been making videos on my Mounjaro ZEPBOUND tirzepatide journey for the past, oh my goodness, in November, it'll be 2 years. So we're at like 1 year and 9 months now. I've lost 85 pounds and still counting because I can't seem to get the weight loss to stop. That's another video for another day. But yeah, I've learned a lot over this journey. I share a lot about ZEPBOUND, Mounjaro, GLP-1s in general, and would love to have you join in and, stick around for some fun, some good, lighthearted, not trying to sell you anything, just trying to have a great community fun. So with that being said, Mounjaro ZEPBOUND prices. So why the heck is it so expensive? Why is Mounjaro so expensive in the United States, especially compared to other countries? So in the United States, the price of ZEPBOUND or Mounjaro, which pretty much run for the same list price, can vary anywhere from $550, and that is if you have the coupon that you are able to access by going on the ZEPBOUND website. You can sign up for a coupon there. So if you get the coupon, you'll pay likely around $550, all the way up to $1,300 a month. One big kicker with the coupon is that Medicare patients are not eligible for it. So first off, Medicare does not cover weight loss medications, and you also cannot use the coupon, which is like a super bummer. Super bummer. That's what I say to my niece when I'm nannying her and she says something to me like, my milk's all gone. I'll be like, oh, super bummer. Super bummer. So that's a super bummer, right? Okay, so people are asking, why is it so expensive? There are some reasons, obviously. First off, it's a very small market. You have ZEPBOUND and you have Wegovy, and that's pretty much it right now. And that's gonna be it for quite a while. Like it's gonna be probably another 10 plus, maybe 15 years. ZEPBOUND or Eli Lilly owns the patent for ZEPBOUND until I believe it's either 2036 or 2039. One of those dates is correct. And so it's going to be until that point that generic manufacturers are able to start and that other competitors are going to be able to use tirzepatide to make competition to compete with Mounjaro ZEPBOUND. So that's the first reason. They are one of two major weight loss medications. People want to lose weight in America. We have the most obese country in the world, and you put those two things together, you will get a group of Americans that are willing to pay an arm and a leg for this medicine, and a pharmaceutical company who knows that Americans will pay an arm and a leg. Also, I'm getting ahead of myself here, but there's also the whole government role in it, right? So first things first, it's a very small market. They don't have any competition. So they set the price. The government doesn't fight them on the price, and then it is what it is. Number two, I already mentioned it, but the patent. So right now, the patent that Eli Lilly holds prevents any other companies from using tirzepatide, using the pens to make ZEPBOUND or Mounjaro under different names. And they hold the patent for a long time. And so the price, I mean, I kind of tied 1 and 2 together, but the price is driven by demand, by the fact that they know people will pay for it, and by the fact that they made this discovery, right? Like, I don't want to take away from the fact that Eli Lilly made this amazing, life-altering for all of us discovery, right? And so I do think that they deserve to profit off of that discovery. And they also probably know that in 10, 15 years time, the market will be super saturated. They won't be able to charge nearly as much as they did previously. And so they're, making bank as they go. This is not a video where I'm going to like trash Eli Lilly and say that they should not charge as much for their medicine, because I like the business smart side. By the way, I do have a business degree. The business side of me understands that they're doing this because there is a very limited window. I mean, 15 years is a long time, but it's a limited window to which they can charge the full pricing for their medicine. And so it's kind of a thing of making the most profit as you can within the time frame that you are the sole like when you don't have any competition against you. So once the generics become available, once we're talking the 2040s, which good Lord, I will be old in 2040 when the patent is up. I was just sitting here thinking about that. I'm currently 36. So we're talking me being over 50 at that. I mean, not old, but 50's not old. Don't come at me. 50's not old. But like, for me to sit here and think it'll be when I'm in my 50s before generics of this medicine start to come out, that's like jaw-dropping to me. That seems like it's just so far out of the picture. And to sit here and think that I'm gonna have to pay these full pricings for that amount of time also kind of scares me. So it's a whole thing that I know a lot of us are dealing with right now. And yeah, so the government, as I touched on, again, Eli Lilly made this medicine. They made this huge discovery. They deserve to profit from it. But the other fact is that the government in America sucks in terms of keeping up, regulating the pharmaceutical industry and keeping up with price gouging and all of that. There's just not a lot of laws in place that help prevent the price gouging. There was a recent act passed. I should have written the name down of it, but I didn't. That Biden administration just passed or proposed, speaking to like sort of expanding Medicare and having them cover, it was a list of like 15 more drugs that they didn't previously cover. However, no GLP-1s were on that list. Quite frankly, when my husband went to his open enrollment period this past May, he actually sat down with his person. They had a huge meeting, and then they meet with them one-on-one to discuss things. And he brought it up to them. He said, listen, my wife is on a GLP-1. I just want to kind of get your insight on why these medicines aren't covered, or if you ever think they will be. And the answer was pretty simple. Now, of course, this is a representative for Blue Cross Blue Shield that the company hired, because essentially your company tells them, like, it's based on what premiums they want to pay to what you get offered, right? Like, they opt into certain coverages, but essentially the representative was saying that they are paying more per month for the GLP-1 medications, the ones that are covered, than they are for cancer patients. That's absurd. Well, obviously it's absurd because it's so expensive, but cancer treatments should be cheaper. Like, it all should be cheaper, right? So that's just to put it in perspective, though. Like, they're paying more than they pay for chemotherapy treatments for this once weekly injection. So it is expensive for everybody. And again, it's not going to get any cheaper for the next 10 to 15 years. But yeah, that really like brought it down into perspective for me. Like, oh, it made me realize, oh, they also, like, it's costing them a lot of money. And in order to offer the coverage, they would have to charge us a lot more. And then what are we doing? Is that really doing anybody any good, So the government really is has a lot to do with it here. In other countries, I believe the UK, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have like caps on what can be charged. And they're so sort of to prevent the price gouging that happens in America. They have sort of limits and caps within the pharmaceutical industry that the government oversees, sort of like the FDA regulations over there that we just don't have here. And it's unfortunate. When I was doing research for this video, a lot of the different articles that were talking about prices of medicines in the United States, not just GLP-1s, but prices of any medicines within the United States, that they are typically higher than in other countries. However, the United States tends to offer coupons and rebates and stuff like that a lot of other countries don't. So the article sort of made it seem that like a lot of it evens out, but that is not the case with ZEPBOUND, Mounjaro, Ozempic, or Wegovy, because the rebate coupon only brings it down to $550 a month, which is still, let me just make sure before I say I have a list of countries here, which is still more expensive. I have 4 other countries here that I'm going to tell you their prices. And even with the coupon, we are still more expensive than 3 of them. So that tells you something right there, that even our coupon leads it to still be more expensive. Now, to compare costs in other countries, sort of what I'm talking about here. So like I said, let me tell you again what it costs in the United States, between $550 with a coupon all the way up to $1,300 monthly. In the UK, and again, I sort of gathered all of these numbers off of the internet. So if you are somebody that is from one of these countries and you can help me out and correct me if I'm wrong, or if you're from a country that I don't mention and you can, give us your country's pricing, would be great. But the UK, the range I found is anywhere from 229 to 299 euros. And that is for 4 monthly injections, or they also have the quick pens and the vials, and it's the same price no matter what. In Canada, the average price, and this I found actually on a Canadian pharmacy's website, like what they're selling it for, was $639. I tried to look up Australia, and you can see that I even like scratched it out. I know that somebody has told me before in my comment section, like what it costs them in Australia. And I know that Australia has had a lot of like recent things changing. They're banning compound, whatever. But I just couldn't remember, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I could not find a price. I looked for a solid 20 minutes just trying to find the cost of ZEPBOUND or GLP-1 in Australia. So if you're from Australia, let me know down below. In Japan, the average cost is $319, and in the Netherlands, $444. And that is the out-of-pocket uninsured price on all of the above. So that just goes to show you. Now, I think it goes back to the fact that Americans will pay, and Eli Lilly knows that Americans will pay. Also, Eli Lilly can get away with charging that much more here because of the different laws and regulations that we have in our country that we don't have in our country that others do in theirs. Now, again, I'm not sitting here bashing Eli Lilly. I think they deserve it. I think they deserve maybe not that much of a profit, but I think they deserve the profit. Now, what other options are there for us? Because I think it's important to remember and important to note that there are options. They're all going to cost us some money. I mean, I think that GLP-1 should be available to everybody in all walks of life that needs them, because they're such a life-changing medicine, and just wealthy people should not have the privilege of this medicine and all of its benefits. I think that it should be available for all, but in the moment that we're in right now, it's going to cost us all some money, no matter which option we go with. So the first one is obviously compound, although the future of that is a little unclear right now. I'm seeing lots of different things from lots of different sources, and so I don't even want to really speak on that now. There's been a lot of new stuff come out just since they released the vial, and I think that it's all so confusing, and there's all of this he said, she said right now in terms of the the ZEPBOUND vials and the compound and the shortage, that I don't want to speak on it and give misinformation. But as of today, that is still an option. And even if the compounded tirzepatide does not stay as an option, there is the compounded semaglutide, and for the foreseeable future, it looks as if that will still remain on the shortage list. So if all else fails, there is that backup. And I know that a lot of people, myself included, know that tirzepatide works better, but if you're in a life situation where you need to change something, you need to do something different for your life, it's going to help. The data on semaglutide versus Mounjaro or versus tirzepatide it does lean in tirzepatide's favor. However, it's very slightly in its favor. So if you got to do semaglutide for a while, like, there's nothing wrong with that. If I have to eventually switch to that, then that's what I'll do to keep on a GLP-1. So again, that's always an option. Compounded will cost you, if you're getting it from a reputable pharmacy, from one of the 503A, 503B pharmacies, you're probably going to pay $300 to $400 a month. I've not really seen it. Some places they offer that you have to pay a subscription. It might be in the 400s range, but I don't think I've ever seen it above 500. If you're looking for a compounding place, I have a link to Orderly down below that's who I go through. That's who I use. My meds come from Red Rock. And I have absolutely loved them. And if you're on a starter dose, I specifically asked for a code to help you guys out. So if you're on one of the lower doses, that link will get you $50 off. I don't work with them. I literally emailed them and said, hey, I'm sending business your way. Can you give me a code? And he did it. Like, they don't pay me to do anything with that. But anyway, so that's the first option. The second is this is a sort of taboo one. Some people love it. Some people are like, I would never do that, but that is dose splitting. So I have an entire video on dose splitting. It is literally always linked in my description box. Because I linked it in the beginning when I first made it, and then I just left it there. So it's literally always there. So you can go there and watch it now. But essentially, and in that video, I show you like what products you need and all of that stuff. But essentially, you could take a 15 milligram pen and turn it into 3 5 milligram pens, or a 10 milligram pen into 2 5s, or whatever it is you need. You can break it down that way and make it a little bit more cost effective, because even if you're paying the $550, if you so say you get 15 milligrams and you turn them into 7.5, then you're making that $550 last 2 full months. So 8 doses instead of 4. So that's an option. It's something that I've done. It's something that I would do again. I had no issues with it. And now, having been on compound for a long time, realizing that it is literally the same thing, as you know, they're mixing the peptides and backwater, and I literally shot my shot into a vial and added some backwater. So it's very similar. And as long as you keep clean and all of that, then yeah, it's an option. It's a viable option. And then the final one, I feel like this is one that, like, some people are going to be like, blah. It's a sacrifice. So something that I think is prudent to remember is that if you decide that you're going to spend the money on ZEPBOUND, you're going to spend less money eating out. I promise you, you're not going to want to eat out. You're going to spend less on that. You're going to spend less on your grocery bill, because again, you're not going to be eating as much. You're not going to be craving the snacks and the cookies and the cake and the ice cream. You're just not going to be buying it. So just those 2 things alone, decreasing that amount can really help. Also, cutting out subscriptions that you don't need. There's plenty of people who are like, I cut out my Netflix. I stopped my Audible subscription. I stopped with my other random subscriptions that they were paying for. They discontinued those, and they made sacrifices so that they could prioritize their health. And I know that in this economy, that's not an option for everybody, but I think that for most of us, if we sat back, really looked at our income and our budget and what we're spending our money on, we could at least make a little bit of wiggle room to go towards our health. Just the alcohol, and if you're a drinker, like, I have not had the urge to drink in a year and a half. So just that alone is a big money saver. So the final thing I have for this video, do we think that the vials are going to be any cheaper? Short answer is nobody knows for sure. Long answer is I don't think so. And there are a couple of reasons. Number one, again, they're in a sole market. They can charge what they want. We don't have government regulating price gouging. And that's pretty much the only reason you need right there. But also in other countries where there are vials, quick pens, and the other ones, the cost is all very similar. It's all about the same. So just going based on past data from what you see in other countries, and given the fact of all the other stuff, the factors that we have here in America, it doesn't seem likely that they will increase the vials. Could I be wrong? Yes. Do I hope I'm wrong? Absolutely. But then another good thing, or another thing somebody else pointed out on one of my videos, somebody commented that it's unlikely that they'll decrease the dose or the price for these lower doses that are in vials. And then all of a sudden you get to 7.5 and you have this major price jump that people are like, well, can't do that, right? Because then you would have people quitting. So keeping it more universal throughout the dosages just seems to be a lot more likely at this time. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it gave you some insight on why Mounjaro ZEPBOUND is so expensive, what you can expect for the future, and hopefully gave you some ideas to making it more affordable for you. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Drop me a flower emoji down below because I'm looking at them flowers. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye, guys.